My brother's coworker tried to steal his business idea and accidentally handed him a six-figure deal instead. My brother has always been the quiet type, not shy, just focused. While everyone else at his office spent lunch breaks complaining or gossiping, he'd sit there sketching ideas in this beat-up notebook he carried everywhere. Most people ignored him, except one guy, Ethan. Ethan was the kind of coworker who smiled too much and asked too many questions. Always hovering, always just curious. My brother told me early on he didn't trust him, but he also didn't think much of it. Worst case, he said, he talks a lot. Turns out he did more than that. For almost a year, my brother had been developing a side project, something to streamline internal workflow systems for small businesses. Not flashy, but smart, efficient, the kind of thing companies actually pay for. He didn't tell anyone at work. Just me, a couple of close friends, and apparently, Ethan, in bits and pieces. Yeah, I mentioned it a few times, my brother admitted later. Nothing detailed. Famous last words. One Friday, his company announced a surprise internal pitch competition. Winner gets funding, support, and a fast track to leadership. My brother wasn't even planning to enter. Then Ethan submitted a proposal. Guess what it was? Same concept, same structure, even some of the same phrasing my brother recognized from his own notes. He basically copied my homework, my brother said, staring at the announcement email. I was furious. What are you going to do? He shrugged. Probably nothing. That's just who he is. But Karma apparently had other plans. The day of the pitch, something unexpected happened. The company brought in external judges, real investors, not just internal management. Ethan went first. From what I heard later, he was confident, polished. He had slides, buzzwords, the whole performance. People were impressed. At first. Then the questions started. One of the investors leaned forward and asked, "Can you explain how your backend handles data conflicts and real-time updates?" Ethan froze. He tried to answer, vaguely, then vaguely again. It didn't land. Another judge asked about scalability, then implementation cost, then integration with legacy systems. Each answer got worse. Because here's the thing about stealing an idea, you don't actually understand it. Meanwhile, my brother, who hadn't even planned to present, was sitting in the back, watching his own idea fall apart in someone else's hands. One of his managers apparently noticed his reactions. After Ethan's pitch crashed and burned, there was an awkward pause. That's when my brother's manager did something wild. "Hey," he said, pointing at my brother. "Didn't you mention something similar to me a while back?" My brother hesitated, then nodded. "Do you want to come up and clarify a few things?" He hadn't prepared anything. No slides, no script. Just that same beat-up notebook. He walked up, flipped it open, and started explaining. Not pitching, just explaining. How the system actually worked, why certain decisions were made, what problems it solved that Ethan hadn't even mentioned. Within 5 minutes, the room changed. Within 10, the investors were interrupting, not to challenge him, but to dig deeper. By the end, one of them literally said, "Okay, this is the version we're interested in." Ethan, completely silent. It got worse for him. After the session, the company started looking into the similarities between the two ideas. Turns out my brother had time-stamped notes, version histories, even early prototypes saved in his personal repositories. Ethan had a PowerPoint. HR got involved. And while I don't know all the details, I do know this. Ethan doesn't work there anymore. My brother, on the other hand, he turned down the internal funding. Instead, one of those external investors reached out directly. They offered him a deal to build it independently, with real backing. 6 figures to start. When he told me, I just laughed. All that because some guy couldn't mind his own business? He smiled. Pretty much. Last I heard, he's building the company full-time now. Still uses that same notebook, by the way. Says it reminds him of something important. Not everyone who listens to you is on your side. But sometimes they end up being the reason you win anyway. Karma!